Hey, what's up, everybody? We have Katt Rardi today. We're going to be talking about her music, current projects, and we're going to learn a little bit about her. Katt, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
And can't wait to get into it.
This is where I stand. Please hold my hand. Set apart from every pretty lie that you put in my hand.
How'd you get into music? How'd you start? What are the influences? Like, what was the moment, that you knew, like, this is what you want to do?
I'm trying to think of like a non-cliche way to say it, but
No,
what's
the real
my
way?
absolute earliest memory is like wanting to be a performer of some sort. And as I got older, I think performer developed into well thought out storyteller, but I definitely always felt best when I was putting on some sort of show or entertaining or just being a vessel for something,
Sure.
It was like where I felt the most present.
What about, like, what was, like, the first, like, song you heard or, like, first artist you became aware of when you're like, holy shit, I want to be like that?
The first artist, I can't remember. I remember dancing a lot to like 90s and early 2000s pop stars. I can remember the first artist that inspired me to write a song was Demi Lovato.
Okay.
She had this song about her dad. And I remember hearing it, and I think I had just gotten into a fight with my dad, and I went up in my room. I'm like 13 years old, slammed my door, and I played this Demi Lovato song and just sobbed and wrote my first song, and then didn't really write much music. And then when I was like 19, I heard Kehlani, and Kehlani was a songwriter that was just so honest, and she kind of what we were talking about, like that authenticity of like, wow, this person's story
Sure.
makes me realize that like my story can be told too, kind of in a way.
Give a shit about what she's saying. It's like,
yeah,
I want to
and she
know.
can sing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
Sure.
it's like it's cool. It was cool, and I hysterically sobbed to a bouncer when I was 19 to get into a Kehlani concert, and he let me in. So I just want to thank
That's a
that
technique.
man. I hope you still have that job.
Shout out to that. He might remember you.
Shout out.
It's kind of a weird thing to do.
It was intense. I was like, this is my favorite song. You don't understand. I have to get in there right now. And he let me in. It was pretty cool. And my friend.
That's cool.
It was nice.
So like you said, you popped out the song. You wrote it. How did you write it? Like, what was how did you do it?
With a pen and paper.
So you wrote, so you wrote lyrics. Did you have a melody in your head and you sang the lyrics?
It's interesting. Every song is written so differently. I
Totally.
think like sometimes it's more so written through you, not
Yeah.
necessarily like it just like Pain was something that wrote itself. I didn't write that song.
Okay.
No shot. It just my
Came
fingers
out.
started writing, and a new song that I just wrote off the project. That was interesting because I woke up and it was just in my head, the melody and the words. And what's so beautiful is when you can go, like my producer, Anthony Lapardo, he's so incredible because I can go, and Matt Adele was the same way with Pain. I can give them the concept, the lyrics, and what I had in my head. And I don't really play instruments. Like I can a little bit, but when you can like sing something to somebody and they know exactly what needs to be played behind it, that's just like the most magical thing in the world. And that's
Oh, yeah.
like, I feel like you and I also have that connection, I think. And it's just such a beautiful thing. And I don't quite understand how these songs are written. Sometimes I'll write them from a poetic place. You know, when you're in like high school and you get like a creative writing prompt,
Yep.
and they're like, write about this street sign. That feels a little more well thought out and poetic.
Sure.
But sometimes it's just fucking written. I don't know.
Sure.
Sorry. Are we cursing? I don't know. We can curse
We're cursing.
at
We're
West Industry.
Fuck shit, piss.
Yeah. Woo.
Um,
It's a good Blink-182 song.
No, I think the songwriting process is a really interesting thing because like no two people do it the same. I mean, there's a lot of like things that are similar, but like there's no like right way or wrong way, and I think to take it even further, like when you talk about like a collaborative songwriting process, I think it really starts with like the chemistry of the people. Like do you have a group of people in the room to where like everybody's willing to just kind of like be vulnerable and just like, all right, I got this idea and I'm not really sure what it means or what it's going to do, and I think that's cool. But do you have a prefer like do you prefer to go in with like words that you have written, or do you prefer to hear a track and then kind of throw a melody and then work words backwards?
It depends. If it's someone like you or Anthony or Matt, I can come to you with an idea that I had. But if it's someone new, I usually feel better about going in with a fresh ear.
Sure.
Like when I first started working with I'm working with a producer. His name is Godfrey, and he's really wonderful. Great instrumentalist. And first time we ever met, I said, "Don't send me anything. I want to come in totally fresh and just see what happens organically."
Yeah.
And that day, we wrote 4. I created 4 songs with him
That's
that
really
day
cool.
in one session.
That's really cool.
They weren't like full finished songs, but they were at least thought out, concept, like everything. So I think it depends. And something you said before, outside influence versus what's coming from you internally. So there was a period of time where I was writing music to make a hit in my early 20s.
Can't do that.
And that's when I stopped making music.
Yeah.
That was when I
Burn
was
yourself out real quick.
trying to make it and trying
Sure.
to do the viral thing and trying to
Like writing
just
for an
get
intended audience, or like
fucking,
I
like-
should sound like this.
yeah,
all that kind of stuff. Yeah.
whatever I could do to like get out of whatever the F I was in. Like
Yeah.
I was like, shit, like I can't keep living like this. I need to do, but then I had to like delete my Instagram and just stop making music because I totally felt out of love with it. There were so many opportunities that totally like turned me off to the entire industry, and I was like, what the hell am I doing? That's why you end up building your own thing, because you're like, what the fuck? Like, this shit sucks.
You can't try too hard. You know, if you got
Yeah.
the music in you, it's there. But then, like, the process of getting it out, it's
And being
gotta-
around people you trust, for
Yeah.
sure.
Well, like the dude that you talked about, the guy who you went in cold.
Mhm.
I mean, that's a perfect example of like, if it's the right chemistry between people, you're not caught up in like wondering like, are they gonna think I'm good, or like, you know, are they gonna like my ideas? Like when it's just kind of like, all right, let's just get it out,
Yeah.
and like, you know, it's almost like it's presupposed that we like each other, or we think we have respect for each other musically because we're in the room. So like if you're in the room together, most likely it's because there was some sort of connection. If you could just kind of let that go, then the shit
Yeah.
happens. When you start thinking too much about like, is this enough this, or is this enough
Yeah,
that? You know,
yeah,
it's tough to do it that
Because
way.
usually the music,
Ariana Grande might do it that way though.
it's actually
Shout out to
cool
Ariana
because
Grande.
I was just listening to an interview with her about how they wrote "Thank You Next," which is exactly how I wrote "No Boys Allowed." I kept having this idea in my head of I really want to write a song around just all I had was "No Boys Allowed." I didn't know what I wanted to do with it, but I knew I wanted to use it for something. And I was like, what would I be saying? How would I redefine that phrase? Like, what does that mean to me? And I wrote the record, and then the next day or next week or two, I was like single. I was like, shit, I really like spoke this one.
You manifested.
I did. Like, what a dick. But I kept having "No Boys Allowed," and then I was like, it's usually like a shower moment or like a driving in the car moment that you're like, aha. But it was like, oh, well, I'm trying to love myself. There's no boys allowed.
Yeah,
was
yeah.
like the hook.
Yeah, so let's get
And
into the No Boys Allowed.
okay.
Let's
So
go.
when I first started working with Lepardo, the first beat he ever made for me, the first thing we ever wrote together, I like didn't know what to do with it. I was like, I can't touch this right now. Let's move on. We did Pain. We did something else. And then one day we just hooked up the cordless mic, and I just started flowing into this first beat we made. And then just kind of organically, I was dancing around. I was like, ba, 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 da, da, da. And then I fell into the hook. And then we made, I think we just like, it just happened. I don't really know. And then we brought in Nikki and some of her students to do like the gang vocal. There's
Yeah.
sort of like the "No Boys
Sure,
Allowed."
super cool.
Yeah, and we did that. And then I just kept spinning around this idea of like, you know, what it meant, and elaborating on that and getting deep into planning the music video and just kind of not making it about like boys suck, because it's not that.
Sure.
It's about I rule, and like I need myself and I need my girls, and then everything else after that is a bonus.
Cool.
You know what I mean?
Interesting.
So until I figure out my shit and get the relationships in my life right.
No Boys Allowed. No Boys Allowed. Is it part of a larger project? Like, are we doing an album right now?
So I can't give away too much,
Okay.
but I'm just going to tell you like
It's one of those, if
everything I
told
know.
you, I'd have to kill you.
Yeah.
Okay.
So No Boys Allowed, I believe, is going to be the first single off of the project.
Okay.
The reason I say project is because we're not sure if we're going for an EP or an album.
I got you.
So there's definitely enough music for an album, but how much am I ready to share? I don't know.
I got you. It's always hard to get the whole group to feel like it sits together well as a group. It's always a challenge.
Yeah, it's like, what am I trying to say right now?
Yeah.
I'll start with one at a time.
Okay.
And go from there. But I think we have like a really well-oiled machine happening right now. Like, so it could definitely be an album.
So when the project becomes the project, like what's our time frame? Do we have a time frame, or are we still?
We barely even have a time frame for this single. So
we're not making commitments. We're just flowing
in a
through.
Perfect world, I would say January for the project.
How about winter 22?
Winter 22. That sounds really good because I still have another single after No Boys Allowed. So
okay.
Exciting.
Very cool. So collaborations, right? So this is just a random question. Like, if you could collaborate with any artist, living or dead, who would it be?
Lord. Okay, so I would like to be in the studio and write a record with John Bellion for sure.
Okay.
Because I just respect him so much, and he's from my hometown, and
which is where?
Like Patchogue-ish.
Okay. John Bellion's from Patchogue? I didn't know that.
He is actually from, I think, Lake Grove, but we went
Really?
to the same high school.
I would have swore John Bellion was a Nassau County guy. I don't know why.
Because he's always in Nassau County.
Interesting.
I think he records a lot in, well, like the city in Nassau County, but yeah, no, he's.
So John Bellion's your answer? Live or dead?
No.
Okay.
There's different forms of collaboration. As far as recording or performing, I would love to perform with. Oh, I just thought of this the other day. There's so many.
I know. It's
like
a tough one.
I saw Greta Van Fleet. I know. We talked about this, but like fun. Like that's fun for me.
It was a good show.
Lady Gaga. I would love to like imagine opening for Gaga.
No, but who? Like I'm talking about like your
Nikki Silva.
Like shout out to Nikki Silva. Who would you want to sing with? Like
Amy,
I mean like
Amy
with.
Winehouse probably,
Okay,
right?
that's a good one. That's a solid
Don't you
one.
think?
Yeah. I like that.
I think that's
I like
good.
that.
Beatles also.
Beatles. Nah, it's two. You
I
know.
don't care.
Yeah.
I don't give a shit.
You
If I
going
had the
with
chance to sing with the Beatles,
it? I mean, but which Beatle?
the whole thing.
All of them? Even Ringo?
I want to sing with them on the rooftop in the Don't
Don't
Let Me Down music video.
Yeah. It's a solid moment. Solid music industry, pop culture moment right there on that roof.
Yeah. The list goes on though. I just panicked.
Okay. So earlier you were talking about, some music industry stuff, like some thoughts on like the way the industry is and some.
I have three more people. Did I
Okay.
say Frank Ocean?
No, love Frank
Okay,
Ocean.
Frank Ocean. Got to do a hook for Drake and a hook for Kanye.
Okay.
Probably.
Okay.
One or the other.
You went from like I don't even know to like bang bang.
Well, no,
bang.
I forgot. And Halsey, and there's just a lot.
So you want to collaborate with everybody?
Everybody. At
All
least
right.
once.
All right, I'm with it.
Sorry.
So yeah, what's your take on the music industry today? I think that like it's fucking a very different one from what it was even just 5-10 years ago.
The music industry is terrifying right now.
Why?
The what's the word? Temporary idea of like fame and like the way it plateaus on like a TikTok or in a viral way, how you can literally just put out one thing and be on the radio. And there's so many things that people that I'm just like, they're just these
Here today, gone tomorrow type.
Yeah. And then, I mean, you have people that are really like organically gaining a following and selling out arenas, but they're not on the radio. And then it used to only be one lane.
Yeah.
You were on the radio, you were selling out shows, selling albums. Like there was just one really lane, I think.
Now there's so many lanes.
Now there's like 100 different versions and little like compartments of success and fame and internet. And it's interesting.
You like it or you don't like it?
I like it because it creates a way for me personally to put my stuff out there. I can be an independent artist and I can upload my music video to YouTube. I don't need MTV. I can upload my songs to iTunes. I can publish a book on Kindle. But it obviously also makes it incredibly hard to even get any of that heard.
Sure.
and create revenue off of it unless you go viral or whatever. So seeing someone like, I think Halsey had like a pretty big Tumblr following first, and then she made one song, and the one song popped off and got her a record deal. Or this girl that I met in Atlanta, she made I think 1 or 2 songs, and now she's signed to, and it's just crazy because it's like, wow, I was literally right next to you in the same room, and something about my algorithm was different than your algorithm, and it's like, what? So then it kind of gives you that imposter syndrome, or it creates sort of like this, like, why isn't it happening for me? But then it also makes me think, okay, I guess I'm just supposed to do more of like this longevity thing where it's going to take me a little bit longer, but like I will build something organic and real and respectful or respected, and hopefully, I don't know, but yeah, it's weird. Shit's weird.
I think that it's good that it gives everybody like leveled the playing field in terms of like, if you have the talent and you're willing to put yourself out there, there's no more middleman. There's
you can do it yourself.
You can do it yourself. But I think one of the dangers that has happened, especially when you talk about like things like TikTok, like I feel like artists have like this pressure that they have to like write, record, perform, mix, master a new song every day.
Yeah.
And like that is just, it's a non-sustainable thing. And so like
burnout.
Now like all of like these micro genres are forming, like music that's just coming out of TikTok, and like it kind of takes away from the ability for an artist to like organically grow and become great. Like, because that takes time. You have to work at your craft. You have to write a lot of songs, and if you write 100 songs, all 100 songs aren't going to be good.
Mm-hmm.
And but there's like this pressure to where, because social media is so instant and it's so heavily consumed, that like you got to drop a world-ending hit, twice a day, and it's
crazy.
It's an unrealistic thing,
crazy,
and it's putting people in this head like that's what I should be doing, when it's really not what you should be doing at all.
There's an artist that did work for, which I respect so much. Probably like one of the smartest industry people.
Who's that?
Russ.
Okay, yeah.
He put out, I think he started when he was like 14, putting out, I think he put out like a mixtape, and then he was like, okay, well this isn't working, so he put out like a song a week for like years until finally one popped off.
The consistency is a huge
and that's
thing.
crazy because for me, I would never think like, yeah, right. Like I put out a song when I was like 19 or 20. I put out a song like I pretty much did that same thing, like a song a week, and like nothing happened. And then I immediately was like, ugh, whatever, this isn't going to work. But he just kept fucking going. And he was, in his book, he even says, he's like, you have to be delusional. You have to literally believe that for yourself. Because if you're not one of these people, these AGs, if you're not that, and nobody's going to kind of like believe in you, and you have to believe in yourself.
Well, no, if you don't believe in yourself, I mean, there's
sometimes some people don't, I mean, they already know. Like I knew right away, and I thought I could do it, and then you have all these naysayers.
Yeah, but there's
and then you
so many
believe
different
it.
levels. Like you believe in yourself in terms of like your ability to make music, and that you're good at doing that. And then there's like believing in yourself, your ability to be a star, and like I mean, there's a lot of different levels.
Yeah.
But I mean, devil's advocate to what I just said about
I forgot.
about not the unsustainability of constant content and constant music is like I feel like people also get caught up in like the gear, the tech, and like whereas like a guy like Russ, like if you just write and put it out, and there's something to be said for that
he's
too.
He's like on tour, he's like in Bali, like making new records on his laptop, and he's like, what's your excuse?
Yeah.
And not everybody wants to make 100 songs.
I mean, everybody,
like Frank Ocean,
everybody's
he wants
process
to put out
is different.
an album every 5-6 years, but that's just what he wants to share.
Sure, yeah.
He wants to share these poetic projects and well thought out things, I guess.
I'm sure he's got tons and tons of music.
Yeah, of course.
But he's also I mean, he's in the position to where he's in the position of success to where like he can do a record every 5 years.
Probably I don't know if you know who Jeffree Star is.
No.
How do I even explain Jeffree Star? If you know, you know. If you don't, you don't.
Okay.
But he said, like, now that I have all this fame and success and all these things, like, Lambos, mansion in Calabasas, everything.
Just like a social media person?
Still, yeah. Still
A
terrified.
musician?
A
Or just-
makeup artist, but started as a musician on MySpace.
Yeah.
But he said, like, I have all this stuff. I am still absolutely fucking terrified that I'm going to lose it all and be broke and homeless again.
Yeah.
And I think maybe there's a piece of, like, Russ, someone that I have to make all this music because there might be a piece of him that's scared that he will be back to that kid in the basement. You know, because you can lose how things are now. You can lose it all. Like, the people of Jersey Shore, they were the biggest thing ever.
Sure.
And, like, now I think they all have, like, pretty consistent, like, stable lives. I'm not, like, worried about them. But they're not the hottest thing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, some people might think
But that's
that,
almost
like,
every star. I mean, there's very few people
yeah,
throughout
that's
history
true. That
that
sustained it.
that
That
go
rebrand
for,
and sustain
a
it.
generation, so to speak.
yeah. Then
That's
you have,
not
like,
easy to do.
I feel like there are a lot of people that definitely sustained it, but they didn't burn themselves out. So I don't know. I'll let you know when I know.
Okay, all right. I'm looking forward to that. Well, I mean, what's next? What's the next move?
Ooh, I don't know. There's like a crossroads.
All right.
It's like I feel really good about music right now and releasing all this stuff, and I also know the reality of life, and there's a piece of me that there's always been a piece of me that wants to just like move to LA. Don't know why. Just always wanted to do that. There's a piece of me that wants to go back to school. There's a piece of me that wants to keep doing exactly what I'm fucking doing because it feels so right and so good. And then, like, sometimes it's hard to separate what I'm supposed to be doing, what I want to be doing, what's going to work. You know what I mean? But for right now, I'm just going to make dope music and make movies. I dropped out of college after the first semester. I, like, said to my guidance counselor, I'm taking a leave of absence. I got to go. And I just started writing music and making music and putting out music. And then I felt it was going really well. So I said, okay, what can I do now? And then I moved to Atlanta, of all places, and pursued a lot of stuff there. And that was a time in my life where I was more focused on getting exposure and networking and getting into studios and getting signed and all these different things, to where I lost my voice a little bit and I lost my passion and I lost myself quite a bit because I was so focused on getting other people's approval and getting in the right rooms and being around the right people. And then at the end of the day, it didn't create any growth for me at all. Didn't create any music, didn't open any doors, didn't help me elevate my career.
Do you feel like it was a lack of balance? Like you didn't have the ability to, like, focus on the networking as well as was it like kind of one or the other at that point?
It might have been. I definitely.
Or do you think you were too focused on making it, like too
I
obsessed?
think so. I
with,
think
like,
I was.
where is this going to get me, rather than like I just love to do
yeah,
this.
because but I thought that was the thing I was
what you're
supposed to be
do?
doing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was because everybody was telling me, well, you need to go here and you need to do this and you need to make these videos and meet these people.
I think there is a truth to. You do have to do those
and
things,
you hear
but I
stories,
think you
people
can't.
get lucky.
I think the thing is, like, you can't do them at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, in a perfect world, like, you recorded the record, you have it. Now you're not thinking about that, and it's like, okay, I'm gonna go take this thing that I have, and now I'm gonna spend the next 6 months just thinking business, networking, and this project is what it is that I'm selling. Whereas, like, I think maybe one of the and maybe not for everybody. I'm sure some people it's different, but trying to think about writing and, like, developing a voice at the same time as networking and trying to make deals, like, that's a lot to do at the same time. Whereas, like, if you were able to kind of split them up, maybe it's a little, because I mean, you got to network, you need opportunities.
It definitely created a heaping amount of anxiety because it was like trying so hard to. Around this time was when, like, Cash Me Outside happened.
Oh, yeah.
And, like, all of these people that didn't even give a F about being an artist and being a singer, like, I remember feeling like, holy shit, this is what I've dedicated my entire fucking life to. It's what I wake up thinking about. It's what I go to sleep thinking about. I have anxiety attacks about this thing that I want so badly. And all of these people on the internet
Catch Me Outside
are
popping.
doing something so simple, like singing in Walmart with a cowboy hat on and becoming a fucking huge star. And it would like crush me.
Plays with your brain like maybe I should be doing that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, what the hell? And it was just such a confusing, because Justin Bieber happened, right? And all these other, but Justin Bieber is insanely talented. And all these other people that were kind of like, you know, blowing up. But it seemed like those people really actually wanted to be musicians or singers and really like were making the YouTube videos and singing every day. Then there was this weird crossover that happened of like people that just making funny videos are now blowing up and making like
No, they're gonna they sing or they rap. Or,
right,
yeah.
like the D'Amelios.
Yeah.
Like I think they started with like and Addison Rae. Like they started making like just funny little TikTok
And now they
videos.
have record
and now they're
deals.
on the radio and it's like they
Yeah.
fucking deserve it. They put the work in, whatever. But it's also just hard because it's like, what am I missing? What am I like
Well, I think you
doing
have to,
wrong?
I think the question, right, is like, what do you want? Do you want to make music?
Yeah, well, that's what I learned as I got older,
Do you
of
want
course.
to be famous?
Right, exactly.
You know, and like I think that, you know, and I think a lot of people the answer is going to be both.
Mm-hmm.
But I think at some point you have to pick a path.
Yeah.
You have to pick a path, and like if you want to be famous, then like the D'Amelios and like that route, or like Catch Me Outside.
And after they put out a documentary too of like what they're going through.
Yeah,
What's making them have these panic attacks.
Of
and
course.
it's like it's just crazy. The grass is always greener.
But
of
I think like
course.
regardless of what the outcome, right? Whether it's fame, fortune, all
Yeah.
these things, like I think the people that are best at what they do and the people that are happiest at what they do and the people that make it or whatever the fuck that means,
Mm-hmm.
like you got to be guided by like you got to like the craft, whatever the craft is.
Yeah.
If the craft is making TikTok videos and being the D'Amelio family, like you have to like that. Like you have to like I think whenever you're conflicted and the craft doesn't line up with what the end game is,
Yeah.
it's never really going to work because the only way to get really good at making music is making a lot of music. The only really way to be good at making dancing TikTok videos is make a million dancing
and
TikTok
it's so
videos.
cool too, realizing how fucking talented the entire world is. Like I feel like TikTok kind of like opened my eyes to see
That there's a lot of
everyone is
talented people.
really talented.
I don't think everyone is really
I think
talented.
a lot.
I think a lot of people are really
a lot
talented,
of
but I don't think
talented
everyone
people, and it's kind of cool to see. I mean, whatever, but yeah. As I got older, that was like when I was literally like broke, nowhere to live, nothing, like not even a shirt, barely a shirt on my back. I was clothed, thank you. But so being in that place, I so desperately was like, oh, why can't I just like make this one thing that gets me to this one place so I can be
Yeah.
out of this current situation.
Yeah.
And that was obviously not how I am anymore. Now I'm obviously just care about making this music and having this whatever. But yeah, that was huge. That was like such a scary time.
So like, what was there was there a moment? Was there a project? Was there something that snapped you out of that?
Yeah, I think that one of the last things before I stopped making music was when I did The Four, which was like a singing show,
Yeah.
and then I did The Voice, like
Yeah.
one after another, and they both The Four was like super intense, all over the place, lots of highs and lows in that experience, and they, you know, it's all about competing and battling each other, which was not my style at all.
You didn't like it?
Didn't like it. And after that, and then they didn't air my audition, I was like, I moved back home to New York, and I was like really not feeling good. It was when I started actually getting into acting. I worked on Stranger Things, and then I was like, okay, maybe music isn't it, but maybe acting is. Then I moved back home to New York, and I was like, let me heal for a little bit, get my shit together, take some acting classes, see if this is like a thing
Reboot.
that I enjoy. Yeah, I really fell in love with acting, pursued that, and then met Nikki Silva, who like is just the most amazing human, so humble, so grounded. She always reminded me that the journey is what matters. Anytime I would get anxiety about like anything, she's like, Katt, it's the journey. That's it. And then I met when I finally got back into music was I was doing open mics here and there, jamming with some bands, nothing crazy. Then I met my band, and we made some incredible music together. They kind of made me feel safe again. They made me feel like I could write music, and they taught me how to be a better musician.
Sure.
And they were sort of like we were like a little family, you know, and they made me enjoy making music again and just felt safe, like, making it. And, like, nobody was going to fuck me over or try and take away something from me, which was great. And then pandemic, and then after the band kind of split up, I was like, oh, okay, I'm just going to, like,
keep going.
Step into this power, yeah. So that's kind of how
And here we are.
Here we are. That was a big jumble, but yeah.
Here we are.
Yeah, I still get anxious sometimes. I'm Katt Rardi. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned for new music.
Been a minute since I left the city, where all the girls are really fucking pretty. But I digress. I gotta deal with this anxiety dancing across my chest.